Can you imagine that? Miles of beautiful coastline. And I saw an opportunity. It wasn't easy, but I knew something had to change. We scraped together every penny we had and bought that land. It wasn't much to look at then, but in my mind's eye, I could already see what it could become. We offered good food, dancing, and a place where our community could feel free and enjoy themselves. It was more than just a business. It was a revolution. Word spread quickly. Soon, Bruce's Beach became the place to be for Black families from all over Los Angeles. We were booming. I learned a lot about business in those early days. How to manage staff, how to keep the books, how to give our guests the best experience possible. Every day was a new challenge, and I loved it. I remember one summer evening, the beach was packed, the music was playing, and I looked out at all those smiling faces. That's when I knew. We had created something truly special. We expanded, adding a bathhouse and a cafe. Business was booming, and I was proud of what we had accomplished. I was proving that given the chance, a Black woman, could succeed just like any man, but success has its price. The competition grew, and business started to decline. The Black newspaper that once supported our little resort as the place for Black people to be seen was now focusing its attention on the new hip resort for Black people in Lake Elsinore, which offered golf, tennis, water skiing, and so much more than what we had to offer. Black people now had cars and wanted to leave Los Angeles. The local government saw an opportunity and passed laws to try and obtain our property along with other properties on our block, some Black-owned and some white-owned. The city needed to make room for a park, which was opened 4 years later. So, us along with some white folks who owned land on that block had our properties taken in exchange for generous payouts. But in the end, they used eminent domain to acquire our land. The city's plan for Manhattan Beach was to make it a quiet residential beach town. My last party had 1,600 people and a large loud band, which was the opposite of their vision. I saw this as the perfect opportunity to make a large amount of money and retire a wealthy woman. Even though we agreed to the generous settlement, they couldn't take away the memories, the impact we had made. We had shown what was possible. Looking back now, I see that Bruce's Beach was more than just a business. It was a statement that we deserved the same chances, the same joys as anyone else. We were entrepreneurs, yes, but we were also pioneers. Every decision we made, every obstacle we overcame, it was all part of a larger struggle for success. My story isn't just about loss. It's about vision, determination, and the power of entrepreneurship to change lives. With the money from the city, I purchased 2 gorgeous homes in Los Angeles along with an income property. An amazing accomplishment in the 1920s for a woman. A legacy of courage, of perseverance, of entrepreneurial spirit. I may not have known it then, but every guest we welcomed, every dance we hosted, every meal we served, it was all part of something bigger. We were making history. To all the young entrepreneurs out there, especially those young women, remember this. Your dreams matter. Your vision matters. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. We were pioneers, not just in business, but in the long journey towards success. And that journey continues. It's up to you now to carry it forward. So when you visit a beach, any beach, remember Bruce's Beach. Remember that there were those who fought for your right to feel the sand between your toes, to swim in those waters. And remember that with determination, with vision, and with the courage to stand up for what's right, you can change the world. Just like we did, one grain of sand at a time. I retired with pride, knowing the impact we made. But the Great Depression of the 1930s were rough. My son lost much of our wealth after my husband and I passed away during those hard times. Yet our legacy endures, a testament to our resilience and vision. I hope that in 100 years from now that people don't look back on my story as if I was an oppressed Black woman who was forced to move because of my skin color. Yes, we had the occasional run-ins with that rare person who wasn't comfortable with us being Black. But the truth is that I was allowed to own beach property in Manhattan Beach, while most other cities on the West Coast did not allow that. Thank you, Manhattan Beach, for that opportunity, and also allowing other Black families to purchase land in your city. I hope history remembers that you were the first to do so. You have nothing to apologize for. The other Black families who settled with the city for their land purchased new homes just a few blocks away, which should speak volumes for your city. Me and my resort pretty much went unchecked for 14 long, successful years in Manhattan Beach, growing a business from a dream to hosting thousands of Black people and hundreds of parties to being able to retire a wealthy woman. So let my story be told not as a Black woman, but as a woman. And let my story inspire young girls and young entrepreneurs around the world that with hard work and determination, you can accomplish anything. I hope that in 100 years, people look back on my story and celebrate my accomplishments. I built a business that was very successful. I met hundreds of people who hosted amazing parties at my resort, and so many becoming friends over the years. Then, right when business started to decline, the city of Manhattan Beach made me an offer I could not refuse. This offer enabled me to retire a very wealthy woman, a fairy tale life I could have never imagined growing up.